Hi there guys, Aurum Roofing here presenting another how-to video on do-it-yourself plywood roof repair. As always, tools, items, and steps minute per minute will also be included in the description below. Remember, safety first, goggles and gloves. Here's a quick geometry lesson, X and Y. That's how we will be referring to the studs. Step 1. Prepare a work area by removing existing felt underlayment. Pro tip, removing metal or plastic caps first makes this a lot easier. One thing I want to point out before we get into the further steps, make sure before you do this project to take a look at the weather. Make sure it's not going to rain. You want clear skies. This is a project where you will open up the roof, so keep that in mind. Step 2. X and Y. Use your chalk line to mark your Y studs. Pro tip, use the existing framing nails to help find your studs. Step 3. Use your chalk line to mark X lines, top and bottom. Pro tip. Find a squared edge to use as a guide point, either the nearest plywood joint or the top or bottom roof edge. It is very important to make sure that these markings are at an exact 90-degree angle. Pro tip, no need for two people. Are you noticing how I am using a nail to hold one end of my chalk line? Before we move on to the next step, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to our channel for more valuable roofing insights and roofing how-to videos. We are here to make roofing easy and simple for everyone to understand. Here you're seeing me using the top line that I used as a guide. That is the line that I'm marking 30 inches down from that point to get my bottom line. Make sure that if one side is 30 inches, for example, the other side has to be 30 inches as well. So that way your cut is square. Step 4. Use your claw bar to remove all existing framing nails near your chalk areas. This way, when you are removing the plywood, once you make your cut, you're not fighting it. It comes off really easily. Also, it saves your saw blade because you're not cutting through metal nails, you're cutting through straight wood. Alright guys, we're almost there. Step 5. Use your saw to cut the plywood. Cut on all 4 sides where you mark with your chalk line. Make sure that when you make your cut, also make the cut on the center of the stud. Don't go too much to the left, don't go too much to the right, because you want your plywood to have a firm foundation for it to sit on. But you also want the next plywood to still have something sit on. You don't want to take from one and get to the other. You want equal stability for both sides of plywood. This is very important too. You want to make sure that you calibrate your saw to the right depth. You don't want to cut the existing studs. You don't try not to cut into them with your saw. So make sure that you calibrate that saw to the right depth of the thickness of your plywood. Alright, so step 6. Now that you cut all 4 sides, just simply remove the damaged plywood decking. Another pro tip, once you removed the plywood, make sure to inspect the studs. If they're still good, if they're still pretty strong and sound, and if they are, then re-nail any lifted nails or wood chips that may be stuck in there. You want a nice, clean, smooth, flat stud to lay your new plywood onto. As you can see, this is the left and right Y studs. You can see how I made my cut on the center of the stud, not too much to the right, not too much to the left. That way, like I said, the new plywood can lay flat and be strong on both sides. So step 7, now that your roof is completely open, get all 4 sides, get all the measurements, so that way you can make your new plywood cut. A pro tip, you want to take the measurements, write them down on a piece of paper and just go down to the floor and make that cut on the floor. It's a lot easier. You don't have to risk the plywood slipping off the roof or you even slipping off the roof while you're standing on it. It's just a lot easier. Just take it downstairs and bring it back up. So now that you're ready to make your cut in the floor, I want you to keep this image in mind here, which I will also link in the description below. But no matter if you have a 2-foot cut, a 4-foot cut, or a 6 or an 8-foot cut, you always want the 8-foot section, the wide long section of the plywood, to be perpendicular with your studs. This way you can get the firmest of the plywood. Never run the plywood vertical along with the studs, because then the plywood is going to be very unsteady and not strong. It's just going to feel like you're going to fall through. That's not how plywood is supposed to be installed. Keep this image in mind, okay? Step 8, now that you have your new plywood cut, simply position the plywood into the work area. If around a pipe or a vent or anything like the case that we're looking at here now, simply just mark your plywood and make it fit pretty snug around whatever vent or pipe may be. And the way you don't want more than like an inch around on all 4 sides. So just make a little 2x2 square, 3x3 square, or whatever the size it may be. Hey guys, as we're nearing the end here, I'd be curious if this video has helped you, if it's informative, if what you think about it. Please comment below, share your thoughts. Please let me know if I could do something that will simplify things a bit easier on the next video. I would really like your feedback, so please comment below. Thank you. Alright, so now that the plywood is in there, step 9, you want to nail down the plywood using your framing nails. About a 2.5 inch framing nail is recommended. What you want to do when you nail it down, make sure you nail about every 6 to 8 inches apart. That way you make sure that the plywood is on there good, nice and tight, and it's not going to, get loose or something. You want to make sure you put plenty of nails on that plywood. All right, guys, so there you have it. Now you just see me placing the rest of the nails. I am nailing down the new plywood board, but also remember that patch wasn't there before. So when we removed the old nails, the framing nails, we also loosened up the next plywood. So you want to make sure that you nail down that other plywood too, not just the brand new one. So that way your decking is sturdy and pretty firm. Okay, so keep that in mind. Not just, don't just focus on nailing down the new plywood, but also the existing one too. A recap here, a quick lesson. I want to let you know why these roof leaks are pretty common, especially around these areas. What happens is most roofers, they just use regular roofing nails on the bottom, exposed flashing, and what happens is when they install that nail, they just put roof cement and just cover it. and they depend on that sealant to last. But what happens is obviously that seal is going to break off within 2 years or so. And what happens is when the seal breaks, that allows water to come in through that nail, like in the pictures that you're seeing there. So the best thing to do to avoid this problem is just I use screws with a rubber gasket on them. Just use screws. Screws do not back up like nails do. They are pretty firm. They're there to stay, and you also don't have to seal them too. So it makes your roof last a lot longer, a lot healthier when you use screws instead of nails, and just depending on the seal to work, because it never does. All right, guys, so thank you guys for watching once again. I hope this video helped you guys. Like I said, please comment if there's anything that I could have done different to make things easier for you to understand. Be sure to read the description also, because every step and minute will be included below for you to use as a reference. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.